Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dan at NetSell. Thanks for joining us this afternoon for the webinar. So we're going to be looking at using Episerver's CDP and how that technology can help deliver personalized digital experiences at scale. Before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping announcements. Please do use the chat function to pose questions, and we'll try and get to as many of those as possible at the end of the presentation. We'll also be recording the session, and we'll be sending that out to attendees tomorrow, so do look out for that and share with your colleagues far and wide. Cool, okay, just to introduce ourselves properly, as I said, my name is Dan Geoffrey. I'm Client Partnership Director at NetSell. I'm delighted to be joined by Justin Masters, who's Chief Technology Officer, and my colleague Tom Denbigh, Client Partnership Director. And for those that don't know us, at NetSell, we are a digital technology agency. We've been working with Episerver since 2005, so one of the very early adopters of the technology, and we've been a gold partner since 2007. And we work with clients from a range of sectors to create class-leading customer experiences powered by the content and commerce capabilities of Episerver. And we're focusing today a lot on customer experience, what makes an outstanding customer experience. And there's a lot of sort of buzzword and talk within the digital community about this. Means different things for different people, but at NetSell we believe that to deliver an outstanding customer experience you really need to kind of understand three key areas. And these are of course the needs and expectations of your customers. These are kind of ever evolving and shifting over time. Obviously you have a clear objective for your organization and your brand, and it's about bringing those two together with the opportunities that technology presents to harness and deliver an outstanding customer experience. We're focusing today on one aspect of that experience, and that's personalization. And personalization isn't a new thing. Our friend Mr. Bezos, who I'm sure we're all very busy with at the moment, as in the run-up to Christmas, has been talking about this since the late 90s. You know, and he's obviously invested kind of millions, tens of millions in his platform to kind of try and move this forward. But the good news is that this kind of technology that enables true personalization at scale is more available and more accessible than ever before to a range of organizations. I think it's fair to say that until recently, for most companies, most organizations, without the deep pockets of Mr. Bezos, that they've been struggling to get to grips with personalization. You may recognize this in your own company or organization. And quite often personalization means manually putting users into groups or segments based on similar sets of behaviors or arbitrary metrics or a set persona into which they fit. Expanding on that a little bit more, you know, to date, a lot of organizations' first steps in delivering personalization have been built around rules-based personalization. And that means, you know, building those experiences based on certain criteria, such as location, referral domain, number of visits, search terms, etc. And this isn't new, this has been around for a little while. This is functionality that's available within the core Episerver platform now and can be a useful and powerful tool. It's often, you know, the starting point for lots of companies' first steps in personalization. But what these aren't are particularly dynamic or adaptive, and they involve a good degree of manual setup and ongoing management. What we're looking at today and talking about today is moving away from that manual rules-based methodology to a more dynamic approach to personalization, and we'll be sharing how Episerver technology can help you achieve this. And I think, you know, the expectations of audiences are, as I said, shifting and continually changing, specifically in the area of personalization. A recent survey by eMarketer said that 85% of internet users specifically expect and accept personalization as part of their online retail experience. And 74% of online consumers get frustrated with websites when content appears as nothing to do with their interests. But when you get it right, there's no doubt that it's a powerful tool. And according to eConsultancy's recent conversion rate optimization report, 93% of companies see an uplift in conversion rates when using personalization. Now that conversion might be a product purchase, it might be a request for information, it might be any other kind of action that you're looking to drive through your site, but the data tells us that with personalization, it's more successful. And certainly in kind of younger audiences, millennials and Gen Z, you know, this is the expectation. It's kind of baked into their digital life. You know, they expect to be entertained and as much as informed, and they expect the content that they see to be relevant and engaging. So it's an important factor. and something that we're used to as a society and as digital users. But I think it's fair to say that the promise of personalisation for many organisations hasn't delivered to date. It's still seen as a challenge for many organisations for a number of reasons. 91% of organisations don't yet use real-time on-site behaviour to personalise the experience. That could be around integration of other systems, the ability to kind of dynamically create that content. There are a number of factors out there that are kind of hindering people. And one of the other factors is quite often there's a skill or a knowledge or a roles gap within organisations to deliver personalisation at scale. So you can sum up those challenges as rules-based personalisation can take an awful lot of heavy lifting and manual intervention. And in addition to that, there's often a technology, knowledge and skills gap for companies to overcome. But the opportunity is there, and to deliver personalisation as part of that outstanding customer experience, organisations need to understand their users in greater depth than ever before, and be able to do that in kind of real time, based on on-site behavioural data, and adapt the experience that's being delivered to match those criteria. And whilst it is a challenge, great steps have been made over the last few years, and the machines are here to help us. The development of AI and machine learning to help provide these personalised experiences finally being realised and available to a much wider range of organisations. I'm going to hand over to Justin Masters now, NetSail's CTO, to talk more about the marketing technology that's available to drive personalisation at scale. Justin, over to you.
Thanks, Dan. So when we look at Gartner's definition of personalisation, it kind of refers to two key elements that we're looking at in today's webinar. That's around personal and behavioural data. So these two elements we'll explore in a bit, are a foundation of being able to deliver the types of personalisation that are generally expected today. We often hear conversations around personalisation that start with a bit of misconception that personalisation is people who bought this also bought that. But today's personalisation expectations are much more than that. They demand real-time personalisation based on me as an individual, rather than putting me in a bucket along with thousands of other people. So technology is the enabler to this. It's not the solution by itself. So that enables us to give experiences by combining data and machine learning algorithms, taking us far beyond the traditional segmentation or micro-segmentation. It provides the capability to track users and their real-time behaviour and understand the intent of what the user wants and needs. So in the more traditional approach, personalisation is often kind of pre-programmed, or it's not very automatic. Marketeers have to do the work deciding what content to show to which visitors, instead of the machine working out the optimal content for each type of visitor. And segmentation itself is often limited. It's just not practical to attempt the granular level of segmentation as possible with today's AI-driven personalisation software. You might adjust your content slightly to cater for existing or new customers or different age groups, but coming up with thousands of different variations based on demographics, past behaviour or browsing history and other factors is pretty much impossible. In old school personalisation, users are often required to be logged in to see personalised information or to get preference-based content. So in the more modern approach to personalisation, it requires data to be gathered from disparate sources, multiple websites and other digital channels. Gathering that data and applying today's AI-driven personalisation technology allows a much more granular level of segmentation to be achieved. We can move away from a limited number of predetermined segments to an unlimited set of dynamic segments based not only on the individual user behaviour across digital channels, but behaviour of similar users as well. In the new style of personalisation, content can be personalised without the user being explicitly logged into your site. And at the core of this is data. So good data is essential for successful personalisation. The data you need must be collected first, and it takes time to collect the data of a suitable site before being able to base decisions on the data. Bringing the right data sources together is a constant struggle for marketeers across industries, and most don't truly understand the data you already have about users in various silos across the organisation. Your personalisation strategy will probably fail if you don't understand the data you already hold in your organisation. And the first part of enabling successful personalisation is reviewing and understanding the data you already have and what data you should capture to supplement this information. Personalisation engines are one of the biggest growing areas of marketing technology. They leverage data from user profiles and track anonymous user behavior. They can apply context about individual users and their circumstances to select, tailor, and deliver messages such as content offers and other interactions through digital channels in support of a number of use cases, including marketing, digital commerce, and customer experience. All personalization engines, including those within the Episerver platform, rely on the data to deliver these experiences. What we often see as NetSell is that organizations are focused on building experiences through marketing technology systems they already have in place, whether that's content management, CRM, or marketing automation. And what that has created a bit of an imbalance where you've got the capability to deliver, but an inability at the core. There's no single solution supporting the cross-channel experience in terms of data. Personalization is possible in each of the channels, but really not across the channels to create a real joined-up experience. As we've already talked about, the good news is the data probably does exist in your organization, but the bad news is it's probably maintained different systems across silos and can't be surfaced to provide relevant experiences in real time. And this is where customer data platforms, or CDPs, play their part. Gartner said that no other marketing technology in recent memory has shot up the height curve so far and so fast as CDPs. So when we look at how the marketing technology should be structured in an organization, we'll look to incorporate the customer data platform within the data layer to support the digital capabilities of an organization. But what is a CDP? So a CDP is a data management solution, imports customer data from multiple sources, integrates that data, cleans it, organizes it, and creates a unified profile of every single customer. CDPs can take that structured data and push it out to other MarTech platforms to enable advanced customer-centric functionality like personalization. They provide real-time, self-service access to customer data from a variety of sources, bringing together online and offline transactions and behavior. What this does is allow you to access and analyze everything you know about your customers, allow you to do more with your data and personalize your marketing strategy in ways that just previously wasn't possible. CDP is there to enable true cross-channel personalization customer journeys. By aggregating and unifying data from all the places customers interact with your organization, CDPs can help provide a more complete understanding of customer behavior in order to deliver consistent messages and experiences across all digital channels. Some of the key benefits of CDPs and their technology include understanding intent and context and allowing situational data to be used in real time to create truly dynamic segments. This enables us, we'll look at in a bit, content and product recommendations to be truly personalized to me as an individual. Real Story Group published a series of blogs around 9 different business scenarios where CDPs drive real change. And at least probably one of these is relevant to you and probably most organizations. We could run a webinar just on these scenarios alone, but if you'd like to delve into any more of these in any detail, please do get in touch with us. So we've talked about the expectation of users and how customer data platforms are at the core of enabling this. I'm going to hand over to Tom, who's going to talk you through how the Episerver platform delivers these capabilities.
Thank you, Justin. Cool. So Episerver's CDP is at the heart of its individualized content and experience-driven commerce offerings. Now, those of you who are watching today are probably either on Episerver or considering re-platforming. And you should know that Episerver's rules-based personalization that Dan referenced earlier is still a key fundamental feature and benefit of the platform. And it allows you to personalize based on criteria such as location or time of day, or even integrate with external systems such as marketing automation or CRM to enable preference-based personalization. And these will likely form the initial stages of your personalization strategy and the maturity of your capabilities and how you go to market with your customers. Justin has talked broadly about what a CDP is and its benefits. And specifically for Episerver, it's about the capturing all customer behavior and joining that behavioral history that occurs across multiple touch points into the customer data platform. And that can be across web and mobile or Episerver commerce, or even offline in the contact center and in-store with click and brick and the kiosks and beacon technology. And importantly, it enables you to segment and visualize and make actions based on real-time data. Diving into a little more detail, which I'm sure you're interested to know about today, Episerver tracks user behavior across multiple touch points, and by knowing who your visitors are, we're able to filter on profiles by certain attributes, giving you the ability to create segments based on different criteria, and significantly create dynamic segments ready for assisted personalization. That's viewing customers in this way can reveal unseen patterns and correlations in the data and delivers useful narrow segments in your day-to-day lives. A key benefit that I personally like is that segments can be exported and then used to inform other digital marketing advertising such as PPC or pay-per-click, meaning that the customer data platform is informing all marketing activities. From a marketer's and editor perspective, you've likely invested in marketing personas to varying success. And the power of dynamic segmentation means that visitor groups can be created based on a pattern of activity that we're seeing and personalize the content or products in real time. And this all can be managed within the management application and doesn't require developer input, which is a significant benefit of the platform, putting the power in your hands. And that's not just on web. Episerver CDP can inform marketing automation, giving you the greatest probability of success that the right message is going to land with your customers to drive engagement and acquisition. And this is either within Episerver Campaign, or as we know other organizations typically already have a marketing automation system in place that can be integrated and play nicely with Episerver. From an e-commerce perspective, Episerver's AI increases the chance of conversion. And what I mean by that is because it's going beyond showing products based on previous purchase and taking the behaviors it's learned about customers and other people to predict products that are most relevant to customers today. Another feature that I quite like on Episerver that Episerver AI enables is personalized search, meaning results are tailored to the individual. In this basic example here, you'll see the green dress as a standard search is in the second row. From a personalized perspective, as an individual, it will boost that to position number 1 for me. And it's not just about products, it's content too. So many organizations we know that we speak to create lots of valuable content. And a key challenge is ensuring that investment in content is always maximized. And with AI driving personalization, it means content recommendations will be automatically tailored to those individuals. So painting a picture for you and bringing this all together, you'll see that the power of Episerver CDP drives a lot. It increases relevancy through product recommendations, content recommendations, and a better user experience for search, tailoring that search to the individuals. It enables connection with marketing automation, meaning data can inform behavioral triggers and increase the effectiveness of email marketing and campaigns. And all this data then feeds back into the customer data platform to inform site content, email marketing activities, and also offline in-store. So it learns and adapts as customer behavior evolves. And finally, there's insights that can be gleaned using Episerver Analytics and visualizing the data so that the power to analyze and understand the data is in your hands. As you see from these examples, the analytics reports can enable you to identify successes, which there are many, but it's also about seeing where there are opportunities to learn and improve the effectiveness of your content and commerce activities. And I'm sure if you've seen in the news over the last week that Episerver has got some exciting updates in that they've acquired one of the market leaders in content recommendations. And what was already a really good product for content, it increases the capabilities and accelerates what the platform is going to be able to offer in the near future. And not only for on-site recommendations, but visualization and editor tools, giving you greater ability to test and learn how content is performing. And for us, this is a really exciting update and acquisition by Episerver, and for you as Episerver current and future customers. And we'll be running a webinar in the near future looking at the IDEO platform in more detail, so keep your eyes peeled.
Great, thank you, Tom. So we've talked about some of the theory of the technology around Episerver and how that can deliver these experiences. We wanted to move on to share a short customer story, NetSell customer story, about how this technology is being used to drive change and success. And at NetSell, we're delighted to be working with the global photonics and spectroscopy company Ocean Insight to support their business and digital transformation using the power of Episerver. We've been working with Ocean to reimagine their digital experience on Episerver, and their business transformation is about a move from being perceived as just sellers of scientific equipment to providers of real solutions, elevating the conversation with their customers and reaching new audiences and building partnerships. These changes are being powered by Episerver's personalization capabilities across both content and commerce. Looking at kind of content initially, Ocean's website serves tens of thousands of users each month, with a wide range of interests and needs. They can't afford to deliver a one-size-fits-all experience. Users expect more. They expect the experience to be relevant and personalized, intuitive and interactive. And Tom talked earlier about using personalization to kind of maximize the investment that your organization makes in content. Ocean have invested a huge amount in content to kind of tell that story, that transformation story, and move them, in their business ambition. And Episerver's individualized content offering uses the power of machine learning, underpinned by the data that's held in that CDP, to deliver truly personalized experiences at scale based on real-time on-site behavioral data. So it's a really powerful tool that they've implemented. But it's also about commerce for Ocean. So their customers want to buy online, and Ocean want to sell online and sell more online. So the new experience and the platform has to not only facilitate this, but include the tools and features to really drive commerce forward. Ocean have got some ambitious growth targets in place for the next 12 months around e-commerce, both in terms of overall revenue and increasing the average order value. And they're going to do that by delivering targeted personalized experiences. So using Episerver's experience-driven commerce offering, which blends the content and commerce capabilities of the platform, and again leverages data and AI to personalize that journey, to suggest and promote products, relevant content, all around sort of pushing the user along that journey to purchase, and ultimately help them to meet these ambitious targets. So to summarize, the core of what we've been talking about today is customer experience. So it's about how we improve and how we deliver outstanding customer experience. And a CDP can sit at the core of that to provide that customer data view, that accurate customer data view, and essentially enable more effective marketing through targeted and personalized communications. And it's about delivering real-time personalization. We're beyond the world of kind of manually based visitor groups and segments, and Episerver has the power to deliver this, because if you're not personalizing in real time, it's going to be seen by a lot of your users as a fail. And I say those tactics that are in play currently are no longer enough to engage customers. And the CDP, an Episerver CDP, gives you the power and the platform to be able to deliver that experience based on real-time behavioral data. So we had to identify some kind of next steps that you can take forward now as organizations to kind of help you move forward with this. I think, as Justin mentioned earlier, it's about one of the first steps is about understanding the data within your organization. Where does it reside? Where is it being collected? What are the gaps? What are the flows of data around your technology solution? So understanding that and performing a data audit is a good first step. You need to look at your personalization strategy. If you don't know where you're trying to get to and what business challenges personalization is trying to help you address, then the chances are it'll fail. Don't introduce personalization for personalization's sake. There needs to be a core reason for doing so. And finally, kind of evaluate the technology that you have within your marketing technology ecosystem. What's there that can help you achieve omnichannel personalization at scale. So we've scratched the surface a little bit here. There's a lot more depth that we can go into. So whether you need help understanding your data and how to use it effectively, whether you need help developing a personalization strategy, or you're using or considering Episerver and want to know how to maximize your investment in that platform, do please get in touch. We'd be happy to meet and discuss any of these and all of these areas in much more depth and deliver a personalised presentation to you. Geez, I said personalisation too much, haven't I? So that brings us to the end. We have got a couple of questions that have come in. The first one, which I'm going to direct at you, Justin, if that's okay, is how do CDPs work in the context of GDPR?
Yeah, okay, I'll take that one. So, from a GDPR perspective, it's not really too much of a concern. Most of the, well, in fact, all the CDP platforms, including the Episerver, are GDPR compliant. So they're primarily initially tracking anonymous user behaviour, and at some point, that person might get identified either via a registration or submit an email address, but you have to go through a GDPR compliant process in order to do that. So it isn't really a compliance issue, it's more about how you build a solution ensuring you get the right consent at the right point in time.
Okay, thank you, Justin. Another question we've had in is a valid one and a good one. I'm sure lots of people are thinking this, and I'll direct this towards you, Tom. How much does the technology cost?
A good question. A very good question. So price is always relative to the value based on the return that it's going to deliver on. And obviously, from an Episerver perspective, they have quite a structured pricing model. So we can definitely go into more detail on that on a case-by-case basis. So we'll pick up with the individuals who have asked questions around that after this webinar.
Great, thank you, Tom. We also have another question, which is, can you provide any specific examples about how Ocean are using CDP to personalise content? That's a good one. I'll probably take that with maybe some input from you, Justin, as well. But yeah, Ocean are, I guess, at the early stages of their transformational sort of story and journey, and are getting the kind of fundamentals in place to be able to move forward to this personalisation of content stage. They've taken the steps to invest in a really broad variety of content at varying levels, so they're kind of getting the content mix right. And now they're at the stage where they're really capturing the data and understanding that data so that they can then go on and use that to help personalize and drive people down that funnel, whether they be what they call a research customer or a solution customer. They have different sort of bands. So they're at the early stages, they've got the fundamentals in place, and we're helping them to kind of progress that and move forward. If I've missed anything else, or would add anything?
No, I think it's about some of those pieces we talked about. So they are making sure they're capturing enough of the data to actually really provide some useful insights a little bit further down the line. So we need to get the data set big enough. And then they've got the content piece of people who are coming in looking at different content, different topics, about understand their intent, so we can actually drive them to the right content that we think they actually want, which will ultimately lead to conversion, whether that's for Ocean, whether that's getting in touch with Ocean, or whether that's then driving them down the commerce route to actually buy products themselves.
Great, thanks, Justin. Well, look, I think we're nearly out of time, so it just leaves me to thank you for attending this afternoon. We hope you found it useful and interesting and insightful. I want to thank Justin and Tom as well for their input and insight. We will be sending out a recording, so that will be sent out tomorrow, so look out for that in your inbox. If you do have any further questions, please get in touch. The details are on the screen now. And do follow us on our social channels and keep an eye on netsale.com, because as Tom mentioned, we will be delivering another webinar in the not too distant future, which looks more closely at Episerver's acquisition of IDEO and what that means for both existing and prospective Episerver customers, and how that helps push Episerver forward in this space and elevates their digital experience platforms in the market. So that's all from us. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you at the next webinar. Thank you.